Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. They always have been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto Live. This is your week daily morning show where we bring you the latest and everything Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about a major cataclysmic crash that could be occurring on Bitcoin. As you know, Bitcoin rallied $20,000 over the last 95 days. Ever since early September, Bitcoin went through a major rally from $25,000 all the way to $45,000. But recently, we have entered about a $4,000 drop, and now we're trading in the 41s. As I've talked about in previous videos, especially yesterday's live stream, should Bitcoin break below $39,000 to $40,500, that being the Fibonacci golden pocket zone, then we are going to likely see a massive drop, potentially as low as support levels at $31,800. So well and truly, we are looking at what could end up being a $10,000 correction on Bitcoin. That'd be about a 20% drop. How realistic is this? Has something like this ever happened? Is this something that we should be concerned about? We're going to analyze all of the possibilities today of what Bitcoin might be about to go through, and then we're going to try and come to an understanding of what Bitcoin is going to do next, what it's most likely to do next, and how we can best prepare for all possible scenarios. Really excited to be here today. Thank you guys so very much for joining Coffee and Crypto Live. Thank you everybody for tuning in. And by the way, I do want to give a massive thank you and shout out to one of the new sponsors of our channel. You've heard of them. They're called NordVPN. If you guys are not familiar with NordVPN, they are a leader in security architecture in every space, but especially in the cryptocurrency space. The reason why you should care about NordVPN is quite simply one of the easiest ways to lose your wealth in the cryptocurrency space is by getting hacked, having somebody steal your private keys, somebody getting into your Gmail account or your email account of some kind, getting into an exchange, and then actually stealing your cryptocurrencies because they were able to eavesdrop on your internet connection, because you connected to public Wi-Fi when you shouldn't have, because you did not have your internet security locked down with some kind of VPN and security service like NordVPN. If you guys have not already signed up for NordVPN, then I absolutely encourage you to do so. You can sign up with the link down below and get a huge discount. I'm also really excited because NordVPN is going to be sponsoring the next few Climate of Crypto episodes, and I spent about 4 hours making a skit yesterday that I'm really excited for. I thought it turned out great. You guys are going to love it, so look forward to this Thursday's Climate of Crypto episode. I think it was really funny. I've been watching it over and over, and I feel kind of bad. I'm like, man, I'm just watching my own video over and over, but I think it turned out really well. So stay tuned, and make sure to sign up for NordVPN using the link in the description box down below. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring the channel. Christopher is in chat, said morning fam. Good morning to you as well. Daniel J is in chat. Mattis S is in chat. Daweeg is in chat. The Drake Equation. Zach Kejmar. Joe Bollier. Florida Attorney. Brandon Sandoval. Diamond Hands Daryl. That is a really cool name. That is a really cool name. Like, they need to make a television show. Diamond Hands Daryl. That's great. Mr. Check 1984 is in chat. RJ. Peyton Pierce. Christopher said it never been first comment. Finally made it, will retire. Yes, you were the first comment today. That's true. Dylan Martinez in chat. Queen's in chat. Victor Sleeps. Ken Woods. Queen. Joey Van Englenberg. I love your name so much. Quinn Daughtery in chat said, morning Jeb. Thanks for reviewing Lux Algo settings for me. Of course. Nigel Carley said, there's so much evidence for Jesus Christ's life, death, and resurrection. Why is nobody talking about it? It's true. There is quite a lot. There is absolutely a massive amount. Miles Savini in chat. Leo Kuriakose is in chat. Daniel J, Alex Nibo, Mike Lowry, Jojo, Crypto Mini Bike, Joe Finnegan, Jason Ong, Fox P2, Micah Mann, Shane Sullivan, Jay, The Drake Equation, Rodrigo Sultanum is in chat. Shout out to all of you guys in chat. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Let's go ahead and jump on over to CoinMarketCap and get started. Very excited about today's episode of Coffee and Crypto Live, guys, because normally whenever Bitcoin goes through a correction like this, you have two camps. You have the people that are sitting here like, yeah, what else is new? Because they've seen it 1,000 times like me. And then you've got the other people, normally people that are newer to the market, and no hate, appreciate, no hate. But you got the other camp that's like, just running around like their head's on fire. And so I want to, if there's any of you guys that are running around like that, like you're a chicken with a missing head, then I want to talk to you today especially. But also, I hope this will be enlightening for those of us that have been in the market for quite some time. Bitcoin goes through large corrections. And in fact, one of the hallmarks of a healthy bull market that is actually going to last a long time is a 15 to a 30% correction happening every 90 to 180 days. So when Bitcoin has corrected 1.39% in the last 7 days, and from the high, the yearly high at 44.5, about 44.8, it has corrected, 6-7%. We can see the actual number over here on CoinMarketCap. This is nothing that we are worried about as traders in the cryptocurrency space. Having an 8% drop to where we currently are and an absolute drop of 10.71% is not freaky. It's not scary. It's not something that we are worried about as expert traders. Instead, we see it as an opportunity. And today, we're going to break down what is going to happen next on Bitcoin, and we're also going to talk about how we can maximize our opportunities in this space. So let's go ahead and get on with it. Right now, Bitcoin is down 1.44% over the last 7 days. Ethereum down 0.17% over the last 7 days. Binance up 10% over the last 7 days. First thing we have to mention here, take note of how Bitcoin and ETH are correcting and the altcoins are moonshotting. There is a word for this that I have popularized called the altcoin engine. You may have heard people talking about this phenomenon, and essentially what the altcoin engine is it's the way that an altcoin cycle actually occurs. It is one layer higher in the phylogenetic tree of the classifications of things that happen in the cryptocurrency market. An altcoin engine is the process that leads to an altcoin cycle. Think about it like this. If you have an internal combustion engine and you have two pistons, while one is up, the other one is down. And while the other one goes up, the other one goes down. And they go back and forth and back and forth in the firing order. One starts, the second follows. And what we see in the cryptocurrency market is that the cryptocurrency markets act an awful lot like a two-cylinder internal combustion four-stroke engine. Where Bitcoin goes on a rally, it goes up. That's the power stroke. That is the first piston in the firing order. That piston gets everything started. That is the piston, the cylinder that starts the entire reaction. And so we saw that happen. Bitcoin went through a major rally back in September of this year. Excuse me, it did start in September, but it really got kicked off into October. But Bitcoin in September and October of this year went into a major rally. Started a rally here. You can see it did start in September, really got into full speed here in October, and then it took a back seat, and it just kind of coasted. But all at the same time, the altcoins were moonshotting. And so the first piece of the puzzle, Bitcoin started rallying very aggressively. From there, though, Bitcoin took a break. Now, Bitcoin was still riding to the upside because that first power stroke was so strong. It was still riding to the upside, but the altcoins started rallying. And then the altcoins took a backseat. Bitcoin took another rally. Now, Bitcoin is taking a backseat. Altcoins are rallying once again. We saw the first cycle of Bitcoin and Ethereum, the second cycle of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Then we saw the first cycle of the altcoins. Now we are seeing the second cycle of the altcoins. If you'll remember something to yesterday's video I made, I told you that I am not bearish on Bitcoin until we drop below $39,000. Well, Jeb, what's with the title? Well, I wanted to get you in here if you were a bear because you're the person I'm trying to talk to. So if you're here and you're a bear and you think it's about to drop $10,000, it worked. I'm here to kind of ease your fears and make sure that you know what to do moving into this market instead of just running around like this, because that's not going to help anybody, especially not your portfolio. So why are we talking about the altcoin engine? Well, it's very important to tell the difference between a correction on Bitcoin and a pause on Bitcoin. It's very important to tell the difference between a total trend reversal on Bitcoin that is going to lead to a 30 or 40% correction versus a pause in the bullishness while Bitcoin catches its breath. And one of the best ways that you can do that is by seeing what the altcoins are doing. And as you can see, in the last 24 hours, Bitcoin's down 1%, Ethereum's down 0.78%. Over the last 2 days, last 48 hours, they're both down about 10% respectively. In that same time, and you can even see it over here on the last 7 days price action graphs, Binance is up 4.88% in the last 24 hours. XRP up 0.25%, not really doing much itself. Solana up 2%, it's rallying. Cardano is up to 58 cents, going to 9% up in the last 24 hours. Exceptional news. Avalanche up 9.18%. DOT up 8%. Polygon up 5%. These are 24-hour readings. Cosmos has a cosmic rally. I'm sorry, I had to do it. Up 19.6% in the last 24 hours. Up 22.72% in the last 7 days. So what gives here? Is this a total market crash where Bitcoin is absolutely just going to fall straight through the floor and drop back down to 25? Is this the end of this massive rally? Not necessarily. And the reason is very simply because of what I talked about with the altcoin engine. Bitcoin is taking a pause. It has gone through a correction. It is resetting its MACD and RSI. It has not broken below market structure that is baseline and allowing for a large amount of support between 39 and 40 to 40 and a half. And the altcoins are going through a rally. In other words, the reins were let off by Bitcoin and the altcoins picked up the reins. And so the reason that that is so, not the reason, but somewhere you can see that is over here in the total market capitalization charts. You see total market cap is only down 6.5%. On total, it did drop 9.77%. But look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin in total dropped 10.66%. Considerable amount more. And Bitcoin's currently down 8%. The altcoins are coming in and catching the market so that the total market capitalization essentially continues to march higher. Total market cap has not dropped below $1.5 trillion, at least hasn't stayed down there. It dropped down there on a wick briefly. And this is why I recommend a broad-based investment in the cryptocurrency space, because when Bitcoin is struggling, the altcoins typically in a bull market are doing well. And whereas during a bull market, Bitcoin will be doing this number, and during a bull market, the altcoins will be doing this number. If you invest in both of them, then the market does this number and essentially levels itself out. It's not always that simple. There are total market corrections, but take a look here at the time period on total market capitalization from the middle part of March 2020 all the way to all-time high. There are almost no drops, and it's a 2,000% return. Why is that? There were huge corrections during this time. This is on log. Let's go to regular. Same deal. Look at this. It is one massive rally with barely any corrections. The reason for that is because of the altcoin engine. At most, we saw a 25% correction a couple of times. But in general, the market's basically just up and to the right. The total market cap chart looks a lot more like the S&P 500, whereas Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency looks more like an individual stock because it's not an aggregate. It's just one cryptocurrency. That is one of the many reasons why I advocate for investing in the cryptocurrency market with a broad base, investing in tons of different altcoins, many of the altcoins in the top 20. I recommend looking into Binance, XRP, Solana, Dogecoin, Sheeb, Cosmos, all of these cryptocurrencies that you are familiar with in the top 20. Avalanche, Cardano, Polygon, Chainlink, Toncoin, Tron, Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, I personally exclude from my investment portfolios because I think both of them are too similar to Bitcoin and neither of them have a use case different enough and potent enough to actually be mass adopted. So I'm not personally investing in Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash. Uniswap's a great example. Even Stellar. And so these cryptocurrencies are the ones that I'm investing in because I'm not even... I would love being invested in Bitcoin where I'm able to get this kind of price action, but I actually really wish that I could invest in the total market cap chart where I can get this kind of price action because it's smoother, it's more reliable, and it's a lot simpler because your basic investments, I'm not talking about all the trading that you're going to do or all of that, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to sell it in 37.2 days. I'm not talking about the extra work you're doing. I'm talking about the baseline of your portfolio. I'm talking about you're in crypto for 30 days, do this. I'm not talking about you're in crypto for 5 years, do this. I'm talking about you're in crypto for 30 days, do this. You're in crypto for 5 years, still do this, but do the other stuff you're doing too. I'm talking about the basic. The basic is build a baseline investment in the top 20, top 30, whatever number you want to call it, at least the top 10, period. You will get something like the total market capitalization charts showing up in your Coinbase or in your Binance or wherever you have that held in your ledger, in your Exodus, whatever. That will be roughly what your portfolio will look like, because those altcoins will smooth things out. And then, of course, if you want to put more investments on top of that, then go for it. If you want to have moonbags, go for it. If you want to have 3 times more Ethereum than you would normally have in that strategy, then go for it. But build a baseline there. All right, so now we've established that this correction that Bitcoin is witnessing is not, as of yet, the beginning of a huge crash to $10,000 to the downside down to 31.8. We've established that this is not a confirmed drop below 41. It's not. We've not confirmed that. We have, however, established that this is a healthy consolidative correction that the altcoins are proving does not have to lead to a $10,000 drop, that the altcoins are proving does not have to lead to a total market reversal. And so that brings us to Bitcoin. Let's look at Bitcoin. What do we find? Well, I'm going to do a bit of a recap for what we talked about yesterday. So if you watched the stream yesterday, just bear with me for like 60 seconds. We just got to make sure we understand what's going on, and then we will keep going on with today's information and where we're going to go next. What we talked about yesterday, well, I'll let you watch the whole stream, but the recap I want to bring to your attention is the... let me just go ahead and get the stream up so I can have stream chat up here. I can talk while I type. Let's see if I can do it. The recap here that I want to bring to your attention is the fact that the Fibonacci golden pocket sits right there between 0.618 and 0.65 when retraced from the all-time high at $69,000 in November of last year all the way down to the bottom Christmas last year of $15,500. Got chat up. And the golden pocket sits there between 38.8, call it 39, and about 40,500. You can see that right here. That golden pocket was breached. Luckily, that's a very good sign that we're going back to all-time high and sooner than we originally predicted. So that's wonderful. What I will say is that this corrective movement also is significant because we've fallen back down to test the golden pocket, which you can see right here. We've fallen back down to test this major uptrending level of support. We are currently above it. That's critical. And we've also fallen back down to the 20 daily exponential moving average. All of those things give us what we call the convergence of support and resistance. And for anybody who doesn't know, we have something called the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, where we teach you everything that you need to know about technical analysis. You can find the link for that down below. I firmly believe that you will be better off for having taken that academy. In CT2A, we talk about something called the convergence of support and resistance. And whenever you see multiple supports converge, i.e. come together, then you build their strength in a kind of a diminishing return kind of way, but you do build their strength. It's not just 1 + 1 + 1 = 3. It's more like 1 + 1 + 1 = like 1.8, but it's still more powerful. And so when we have the uptrend, the 20 DEMA, and this zone all beneath us, we have a huge amount of support. We have a massive amount of support, and it's something that we can actually rely on. It's market structure that we can bank on. And on top of that, right below that, we also have all of this VRVP support that's being built right here. So, should Bitcoin go through a major correction, even down to 39, there's still a massive bank, a massive bulwark of support beneath us. So, I am not worried in the slightest about this current market. Bitcoin is still bullish. And something I also want to mention, because people are freaking out about this. Oh no, Jeb! But Jeb, listen, there's a bearish MACD cross. There's a bearish MACD cross. Bearish MACD cross. Uh-oh. What are we going to do with that? But Jeb, RSI broke below the 14 interval moving average. What are we going to do with that? Drop down to 57. Doesn't that mean that the bears are in control? Yes, it does. Does that mean that the strength of the bears has exceeded the bulls to such a degree that we're going to see a $10,000 crash, or that we're even going to see a crash down to 35? No. It means that the bears were strong enough to send us this far. And by the way, that was on a long squeeze. That wasn't something that just kind of gradually happened and the bears slowly made... No, they had an opportunity and they took it, and the market dropped $2,500 in 3 hours. And now it's trading sideways right here. There's a major amount of support beneath us, and as any correction should, we're resetting MACD, RSI, back down to baseline. Remember, the closer you get to baseline, the more room you have to go to the upside in the future. So if Bitcoin does trade sideways down here for a week or so, it'll reset RSI back down to 50. It'll bring the MACD back down to a manageable level, as it did back here. And then we can actually potentially have another little rally. Now that rally, this third rally, because this would be the third rally that we're talking about entering into, I think would be the smallest of them. And this massive rally, this second rally that just ended a couple of weeks ago, if we did see a third rally, we could maybe see ourselves going to 50. Which, I mean, let's face it, that's a $9,500 movement. So that's actually not that small. But I could see us going to $50,000 from there, though I do think you're going to see a much larger correction. And a big part of the reason for that is because we're starting to build this trend where Bitcoin rallies, you know, 15 to 20, 25, $30,000 and then goes through a more prolonged corrective movement here. You can see here in Q1 of this year, we just had straight up and to the right, and then we basically traded sideways for 6 months. We had the smaller movements inside of that movement, but the overarching movement was essentially movement to the upside, sideways. We are now building this second movement to the upside, and it's very possible that we just see sideways for a while. Maybe until we see the BlackRock ETF approved. Nevertheless, I think $50,000 is in the cards by the end of the month, or even potentially moving on into January, especially in keeping with that BlackRock story that we've talked about thus far. All of this is contingent upon Bitcoin holding above these 3 levels: the zone, the uptrend, and the 20 daily exponential moving average. If Bitcoin is able to do that, then we are going to be just fine, especially considering the altcoins are continuing to rally. But keep in mind, this is not always the market that Bitcoin is in. Sometimes everything's dropping and Bitcoin takes a turn dropping, and then the altcoins take a turn dropping. That's like the altcoin engine working in reverse, right? Except it's like the brakes, but there's no real good analogy for that. The fact of the matter is, Bitcoin is here to stay, even if it drops down to $31,800, which is a real support level. It's just pretty far away. That is not something that we should concern ourselves with. That is not something that we should be scared of, because if you're setting your portfolio up in the way that I have recommended, and again, this is not financial advice, to be clear, I am not your financial advisor. We've not entered into that agreement. I do not have a financial advising license. I thought about getting one. I looked into it, and lo and behold, I can't talk about cryptocurrency markets publicly if I get that license. So I said, you know what? I'm going to not do that because I would torpedo my career. I'd be legally obligated to not talk about what I'm talking about right now. So just so you know, I thought about getting a financial advisor license because I'm like, man, or becoming a financial advisor, certified financial advisor. I'm like, you know what? I would rather have the channel than some flashy title. I don't really care about the flashy title. I do love the channel, so it was an obvious pick. But anyway, the point is, if you're following the investment strategy that I have put out there in the airwaves, you choose whether you want to follow it or not. It's up to you. Then you're not going to be selling in the next month. And if you're following the wisdom that I give you on personal finances, you're not going to find yourself in a position to need to sell in the next month unless something weird happens, like a meteor hits your house and your insurance company goes broke on the same day. Something to that effect, or you get some kind of horrible illness, whatever. We're talking act of God, terrible kind of thing happening situation. So you shouldn't be concerned about a crash because you shouldn't need to find yourself in a position in the next couple of months to have to sell. So if it drops, then that is good for you. Why? Because your dollar cost averaging just got cheaper. Isn't that great? That's lovely. And by the way, one of the things we also recommend, and you're going to see in Climate of Crypto this Thursday, is to make sure that you have some kind of lump sum of cash on the side. Have some cash on the side, because if Bitcoin drops down to 31.8, you might want to scoop some up. Might be the last time you ever see that level. You've heard that analogy, that phrasing before, but I genuinely think if we drop down to 31.8, you'd probably never see that again. If we saw Cardano drop down to 30 cents or 40 cents, you'd probably never see those levels again, so you might want to scoop some up. You continue dollar cost averaging no matter what the market is doing, because the point is not to think about it and to trust the process, trust the system, but if you want to manipulate the system a little bit, you can add a little bit more in around the bottoms. So if we drop down to 31.8, is that a problem? No. So let's talk about what happens next now that we're here on Bitcoin. And let's also talk about how we can best take advantage of that from a basic investment standpoint, but also from a standpoint of looking for trades for any of my more advanced traders and investors that may be in the chat. Really quickly, we are going to read some chat. I appreciate all 500 of you guys tuning in. Guys, let's go ahead and drop a like on the video if you have not already. I really appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. If you're enjoying the video, hitting the like button helps to support the video and the channel in the algorithm. If you think that that this video, this content has been helpful for you. Crypto Mini Bike said YouTube won't let me comment. It's frustrating when the algorithm does this. I don't know why it does that. I've been trying to figure out a way to fix that, but I cannot figure out what the deal is. Let's see. Jay said, hit the like button. This is a bear intervention. Yeah. All right. Altcoin engine, Dylan Martinez said. The market has to breathe, the Drake equation said. Exactly. Altcoin engine, choo-choo, let's go. That's right. We need to get a t-shirt. Tell me, would you wear a t-shirt that said altcoin engine? And it was just like on the side of a steam train. I'd love to know if that'd be something you guys would like. That sounds like something you guys would like. Anyone who's worried about this has been in the market for about a week? Yeah, I was in the market for about a week one time, and I was very concerned about my first correction. Jeb, are you going to take some profits before the ETF news? Doubtful. Doubtful. Because whether the ETF gets approved or denied, there's a lot more bull market in store. I might take some. If we just blow off top, I might take some. If I do take profits, I will tell you. But it's going to be a while before I get into that position of wanting to take any profits because I've got a lot invested that I think is going to go pretty far. But we shall see. I am a little bit more on the conservative side than some of the guys that you might watch, and the reason is because I already have a considerable amount of wealth that I want to grow in a way that I want to grow in a way that is going to be conducive to growth. I mean, I have a very long time horizon. I can I can look out 40 years and say I'm still going to be investing in 40 years from now. So I have the ability to say, all right, I'm just going to let this grow and be kind of conservative. And then with littler things, with smaller things, yeah, I'll get pretty risky. I'll take a moon bag on something. Why not? But for the broad part of the portfolio, it's already very large. So why not just grow it in a way that I don't really need to worry too much about it? We all want Jeb merch, the Crypto Mini Bike said. The Drake Equation said, I'd get that shirt, also hat with Finsoft. That would be awesome. Jeb, your linked Instagram to your YouTube is hacked. Wow. Well, thank you for telling me that. You should consider removing it from YouTube content. Yeah, about a year ago, the names on... Thank you. The names on the social medias got changed. Long story, but it is... yeah. I will fix that. I've got to... You know, the funny thing is we actually have a trademark with the United States Patent and Trademark Office for Crypto Jeb. So just so you know, that logo down there in the bottom right... You know, the logo that you guys see everywhere, that is trademarked. Like, we have a literal trademark on that. So I'm pretty sure I can just go to Instagram and say, hey, there's somebody that stole our account at CryptoJeb over on Instagram. I have a literal bona fide trademark with the United States government with this. I would like that account, please. I basically, for lack of a better, I expect to have that account back in my possession, please. That is my property. So I'm thinking about doing that with Instagram. We shall see what happens. Anyway, let's get back onto it. Bitcoin right now is trading at $41,300, and I want to talk a little bit about where Bitcoin may go next. Now, Bitcoin does have some concerning technicals for us bulls out there. There's a downtrending level of resistance here, and with that downtrending level of resistance, there is quite substantial bearish RSI divergence. You can see the uptrending level here on RSI. On MACD, we never actually had a bullish cross, so think about that. Like that. We do also have a bearish MACD cross coming in on MACD, and the MACD is generally sticking below the zero level right now. The last 2 days here have been exceedingly bearish. My question for you, my question for the market, is whether or not Bitcoin will end up crashing through the $39,000 to $40,500 region. If so, then sure, that's where we start looking for much larger corrections. But I do believe that we're going to run into this kind of unmovable object down here, and Bitcoin's going to be fine. Could be wrong. Been wrong in the past. I'll be wrong again in the future. Just like you. We're all human. But I don't think I will be. I think we're going to hold this support. And part of the reason for that is there's just not a lot of pressure that I think Bitcoin can really mount anymore. Think about it like this. If you got a battering ram and you're trying to go through a door, like, I really need to write a book of my analogies because people are always like, Jeb, you're the king of weird analogies. I don't know if that's the dad in me or just my weird brain. I don't know. But here's my analogy. Bear with me. If you've got a battering ram and you're like the SWAT team, right, and you're trying to break through a door, the amount of pressure that you need to get through that door is great. Say it's a solid oak door. It's like a gigantic 2-inch thick oak door with it's got like the cast iron little rod on it, the wrapper for the knocking. That's what you're dealing with here, right? That's the kind of support that we're talking about down here at 39 to 40,500. Solid oak, hickory, whatever kind of door. I got no idea. It's a strong door. Let's just say it's steel. It's a steel door, right? You're trying to bust that down with a battering ram. You're the SWAT team. There's somebody in there that like forgot to feed their dog for a day. And so you got to get in there and fix that, right? Well, to break down that door, that's a strong door, man. You've got to get a pretty big running head start, and you've got to be pretty darn strong. Well, here's the deal. This crash right here was pretty darn strong. It had a massive running start. Not so much to the point where you just ran for like 5 miles and now you're exhausted by the time you got there. No, it was a pretty solid running start. You know, they got like a 100-foot running start. They were at full speed. They were not tired at all when they hit that door and slam. And then what happened? They got knocked back 50 feet because the door was stronger. You know, the one thing I don't like about this analogy is that, just side note, the police lose at the end of this and the door wins. Another attempt. Get a closer running head start. And now they're all exhausted because of this attempt. They try it again. Wham! They get rejected. Don't get through the door. Now they're even closer. Less time to run up. So going slower, less kinetic energy. The door is still standing. It's just as strong. And they're going to try and test again. Wham! Not going to work. If we fall back down here and test this level again, we're having almost no run up to it. And it's the third test. If you will remember to the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, where I've taught thousands of you guys how to do technical analysis, you will know that a triple bottom is the strongest form of resistance in the entire market. If we even do so much as fall back down here and test this a third time, we will have established a triple bottom on 40,500, which will be nigh impregnable. If Bitcoin then does come down here and test it a third time, two things will happen. Either one, Bitcoin will bounce just a little bit, and then it will actually fall through, and we'll see the correction. More likely than not, in my opinion, though, the altcoins being still in states of rally will allow for Bitcoin to continue to break to the upside. We will break this downtrend, which at that point will be just barely overhead. That will give the bulls enough confidence to say, aha, we broke an uptrend. By doing so, we will have put into play, just kind of extrapolate out the MACD through this scenario, we will have put into play a bullish MACD cross. RSI would be breaking above the 14 interval moving average. You can see those crosses, what they might look like right here. And then you've got Bitcoin breaking above this downtrend because it bounced off of the third bottom. It bounced off of 40,500 for the third time. Break the downtrend. You get this breakout above that uptrend. You get MACD RSI coming in here. At that point, you've probably seen Lux Algo give some kind of buy signal. Because we got a confirmed sell signal right here. We have for a while. You break up here above. Let's just kind of move all of these. You break up here above the trend catcher, which is currently sitting at 41.7. So that's just above the uptrend. Then you have a confirmed buy signal, and it's got a price target, take profit, up at 44. So if we fall back down to 40.5 again, we're probably going to bounce off of it. And if we do a bounce off of it, that's probably going to act something a lot like bedrock, and it's going to be very difficult for the market to break through. If we come down and test it a fourth time, that's where we start getting a lot more serious about having a correction back down to like 35. That would be our next level. But I don't see that happening because I see quite a lot of strength in the altcoins. And it's not that the bulls have lost their strength, it's that they've moved their strength. Think about it like a front line. You've got two armies, and one front line, let's call them one army, let's call them the bulls, is losing ground on one front. Are they losing ground on one front because they're losing the overall war? Or are they losing ground on one front because they are preparing for a counteroffensive on another front? At the same time that we've been losing ground, we, the bulls, have been losing ground on Bitcoin. We, the bulls, have been gaining ground on Cardano, on Binance, on Solana, on Avalanche, on Polkadot, on Polygon. Yes, not enough to make up for the total market capitalization drop. We have still seen a considerable drop on market cap. But sometimes, as I said with the battering ram analogy, to go a very long way forward, you have to take a few steps back to get your momentum built. And that, I believe, might be what's happening right now. There may be, for that reason, another major rally coming to some of the altcoins, such as your Solanas out there, your Cardanos out there, your Ethereums out there, while Bitcoin and, actually so much more of Ethereum having a correction, while Bitcoin and Ethereum having a correction. So, what do we do with this information? If you are a trader, this downtrend is your trend line to be looking at. This downtrend right here. You break above this trend line, boom, there's your entry for a leveraged long. All right, and if you are not familiar with where you ought to go to do leveraged longs, I personally recommend the Apex protocol over on Apex Exchange. It is my favorite decentralized exchange. You can find a link to it in the description box down below. This is where I do leverage trading, and if I am able and I see this movement happening, I will probably try and leverage trade this myself. Please make sure you are very careful with leverage, as it is a form of debt because you're borrowing money from the exchange. It is a tool that you can use just like all debt. If you use it correctly, appropriately, and responsibly, it can help you make considerable amounts of wealth. If you don't use it responsibly, yeah, you could lose money from it. I don't intend to scare you, but I do intend to warn you and to be cautious. But if you are a competent trader and you've been doing this for a while, Apex, I believe, is the place that you should go to do your leverage trading, and you can find a link for it in the description box down below because it is secure. It is a decentralized exchange, which means the cryptocurrency never leaves your custody. You're still in custody of it, which means that if something ever were to happen to an exchange because the government went after it, whatever, it's a DEX, that's not going to happen. But if something ever happened, then it is basically just in a smart contract, and it would be returned to you. You will be okay, as far as from what I understand of the architecture. It also has a very beautiful user interface that I am very comfortable with. It's a lot like Bybit, so if you've not used it, then you can use it right here. Boom. Let's read a little bit of chat, and then we'll talk about what we can do with our investments and trades. Like I said, if you're trading, then we're basically looking at that downtrend. John Doe said, dang, I'm going to have to quit selling that logo, lol. Yeah, I mean, I've never gone after anybody for trademark on that, but I can. And I do believe there's, like, fines and, like, the police will get involved on something like that. So I don't want to do that. I've got no interest in that. But I also will tell you right now, I do have an interest in busting scammers. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's not really at the top of my priority list right now. I'm not the biggest fan of Instagram, but I am thinking about trying to get that fixed. I need to get that fixed. Especially just so that people don't get scammed. I mean, goodness gracious, these people out here are crazy. Let's see. Tins952 said, thanks for advocating for financial emancipation. It's a cool word. It's a cool name for that. I'm from Zimbabwe, where investing in Bitcoin and cryptos is a necessity due to gross fiscal indiscipline from our government. Yes. Yes. That is another major reason to invest in cryptocurrency and also to look into the concepts of financial sovereignty. ADA on a run. Even as we speak, it's trading almost to 60 cents. And that leads us to our question of today. How do we make the most of the opportunities that we have in the cryptocurrency space considering these corrections? Well, first and foremost, I've already shown you a trade that you could go through. Second of all, I want you to understand that there is a lot of wisdom in simply dollar cost averaging. I go back to that over and over again. People sometimes get on to me like, Jay, that's all you got for me? No, it's not all I got for you, but it is the thing that you need. It is the thing that you have to pay most attention to. It is the thing that you have to make sure is working. If that's the only thing that you do, then you will be successful. There's a lot of things in crypto you can do them and you might fail. But dollar cost averaging into the top 20 is essentially foolproof. It is essentially foolproof. It is hard even for a fool to screw that up. It's a little bit like getting less than a 25% on a four answer multiple choice test. It's like you had to try to do that. You got a test with 100 answers, and all the questions only have an A, B, C, or D, and you get like a 5% on that. You must have been trying. You must have known how to get a 95% on the test because you intentionally chose the wrong answers. Like, that's a little bit what dollar cost averaging into the top 20 is like. You have to try and screw that up for it to not work in a bull market. It is foolproof. And so, since it's so low-hanging fruit, why not do it? Since that portfolio will probably bring you about at least 500% returns in the next couple of years, why not do it? Why not? Why not throw $50 a month in that? Why not throw $100 a month in that? Why not throw $1,000 a month in that if you've got $40 a month to your name? Why not throw $10 a week into that? Why not? It's an opportunity to make life-changing wealth. And I have seen time and time and time again how much people's wealth can change their lives. I also know that the love of money, not money, but the love of money is the root of all evil. So I'm not advocating for you to go and make an idol out of your finances and think that they're your savior, because they are not. Being rich will not save your marriage. Being rich will not save your life. In the long run, we're all going to die. And whether you have healthy relationships is dependent on what kind of person you are. Money is not your savior. The Lord Christ is. That being said, it is important, absolutely vital, critical even, to be a good steward of your finances. Because if you are a good steward of your finances, and if you are faithful in a little bit, then you can and you will be faithful in a lot. If you are faithful with a portfolio that is worth $500 and you manage it well, and at that level, you are making sure to track every single penny. If you've got a $500 million portfolio, you're not too worried about if you have to pay a $20 transaction fee here or there. But if you've got a $500 portfolio, you're watching that stuff like a hawk. If you are faithful in little, you'll be faithful in much. And if you're faithful in little, than when you are blessed with much. You won't lose it like most people do when they make a lot of money. I remember the first month that I made $10,000. And I also remember my philosophy back then was, I don't need a budget. I don't need to be worried about fees. I don't need to be worried about this stuff. I just made $10,000. Well, you know what? That was stupid. That wasn't faithful in little. If you're faithful in little, you'll be faithful in much. And so my desire for you is that no matter what level of money you're working with right now, that you would think about your wealth like an expert financial advisor, that you would think about your wealth like it is a $500 million, $1 billion portfolio, which, by the way, isn't even yours. You're managing it for someone else. Think about it like that. Think about how careful you would be if you were managing Jeff Bezos's investment account. Now, you obviously can't control the whole divorce part of that with that, but you can control, all right, we're going to be very careful with this wealth. We're going to steward it the best that we can. We don't want to lose our job and everybody to know, oh, man, you stewarded Jeff Bezos' wealth. How'd you screw that up? Think about your own account like that, even if it's $10. If you are faithful in little, you'll be faithful in much. Jeb, why do you keep repeating that? Because I want you to remember it. I try and teach my son certain things, and I just tell him the same thing over and over and over again. We were cleaning our house last night. I said, Malachi, why do we keep a clean house? He said, I don't know, because it'll go well for me, because I also teach him, why do we obey? And he says, well, it'll go well for me. I'm like, that's right, good boy. But I said, why do we keep a clean house? And he said, I don't know. I said, well, because it's peaceful. That's simple, because it's peaceful. Why do we keep a clean, orderly home? To the best we can. I mean, we have 2 children under 3, but to the best we can, because it's peaceful. Simple. It's a simple thing that I drill into his head over and over and over and over and over again, and he will never forget it because I'll never stop saying it. And his conscience will keep reminding him, why do we keep a clean home? Because it's peaceful. Why do we want a clean home? Because it's peaceful. Simple. If you're faithful in little, you'll be faithful in much. It is a simple nugget of wisdom. It's not mine, came from the Lord. But I do believe that if you're faithful in a little bit of a portfolio, then you'll be faithful in much. That's the end of my sermon. Let's read some chat, and then we're going to wrap it out here. Before we do, though, I do want to let you guys know that today's stream is brought to you by none other than the esteemed NordVPN. As you guys know, NordVPN is the most prestigious VPN and pretty much most prestigious security architecture in the entire world. And I was very excited when they reached out to sponsor our channel because I've been using NordVPN for years. If you guys did not know, NordVPN has the most advanced security hardware, security software in the world to keep you safe from eavesdroppers, hackers, malware, anybody trying to get into your computer, trying to go through your internet connection to get into your bank accounts, into your passwords, into even your private keys. And so it's very important for every cryptocurrency enthusiast who is trying to be faithful in the little. Say you got a $40 portfolio and you're trying to protect that. It is very important for everyone, no matter how large your portfolio is, to make sure that you are protecting it. You have to have some kind of security system. You have to have some kind of security architecture to keep yourself safe, because one of the biggest ways that people lose their wealth in cryptocurrency is not even to market crashes or selling at the wrong time. It's to getting hacked. And so if you want to protect yourself, then make sure that you invest in your defenses by signing up for NordVPN right now. Because the last thing you want to do is go on public Wi-Fi or have somebody try and hack into your account and they find out, oh, look, there's private keys on here because you exported them 3 years ago and you forgot about it. Now they hacked it, drained your wallet on Exodus or Ledger or whatever it is. You've got your keys on your hard drive, or they hack into your Dashlane or something. And then all of a sudden they can get into everything. They can get into your bank accounts. They can get into your Coinbase. You don't want that. Make sure to invest in your security. You will be glad you did. All right? So sign up with the link in the description box down below and get a huge, huge discount. Fed rate decision tomorrow, Satchit said. Yes, that is right. There is a Fed rate decision coming up tomorrow, and that is a very important decision coming because it is going to be a pause. When that pause comes, that is going to probably trigger a major rally in stocks and also in Bitcoin. It's another one of the reasons I didn't mention today, but it's another one of the reasons that I mentioned today that I think Bitcoin is going to be just fine. It's not going to go through a massive crash because that's going to cause a major rally on Bitcoin, I do believe. Dave disowned Jeb over crypto. That's okay. We still love him. Dave Ramsey's not perfect, but we still love him. Jeb reminds me of a young Dave Ramsey. I have a lot of respect for Dave Ramsey. And it shouldn't be surprising that I remind you of Dave Ramsey because a lot of what he teaches is straight out of the good book right here, and a lot of what I teach is straight out of the good book right here. I just happen to be a cryptocurrency technical analyst. He just happens to be a financial coach. I mean, that's kind of the big difference there. Schmedley B said, "Hey Jeb, would you give my brother Kevin a shout out for his birthday?" Happy birthday to Kevin, Schmedley B's brother. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to who you. Did you know the happy birthday song is copywritten? I don't know if YouTube would flag me for it or not, but I don't think I'm going to risk it. So happy birthday to you. Make up my own song. All right. Somebody asked, was Jesus Jewish? He sure was. The Jews are God's chosen people, and Jesus was born in the line of David 14 generations after the exile, which was 14 generations after the birth of David, which was 14 generations after Abraham, was it? And he was Jewish. He was Jewish. He was born of a Jewish woman named Mary, who was to be betrothed to a Jewish man. And his father is a biological father, I guess you will. Not biological father, but his father was the Lord God. That's right. So is God Jewish? Jesus is Jewish. God's just God. But Jesus, when he was in the flesh, was Jewish. Jesus was put to death for claiming to be king of the Jews. That is correct. He did claim to be king of the Jews, and he did claim to be Messiah, and he showed that that was true. Schmedley B said, "Thanks, Jeb. Was he white? No. He was Middle Eastern. He was Mediterranean. He was probably some kind of olive color. Yeah, a lot of people get that wrong. Jesus was not white. He probably looked more Arabic than white. Well, I mean, actually, he looked ethnically Jewish is the way he looked. So you look at a Jew, that's probably looks something like that. Am I a Christian or a Jew? I am a Christian. The Jews don't believe that the Messiah has come yet. The book of Daniel prophesies the exact day that Messiah will walk into Jerusalem, and on that exact day, 463 years later, I think it was, Jesus did just that. He proved himself in hundreds of ways to be Messiah. So I'm a Christian. But the Jews are God's chosen people. This seems like Bitcoin was manipulated on that correction, but that's fine with me. More time to fill my bags. I could see it, Christopher Ryans. That was a pretty large drop. It was a massive long liquidation. Could have been manipulation. We don't know for sure, but definitely could be. Queen said my color. Queen, I suppose, is saying that they are Middle Eastern ethnically. Yeah, Jesus did not look that white. I mean, if you look at a modern day Jewish individual, he probably looked something like that, maybe a little bit darker, because a lot of after the temple was destroyed in 72 by the Romans, many of the Jews actually, believe it or not, actually kind of fled towards Europe, and they had children with white people. So Jews today look probably a good bit whiter than Jews did 2,000 years ago. But yeah, Jesus probably didn't look just like that. Closed captions won't say Jews. Right, it's not a bad word. People are like, it's not a bad word. It's an ethnic group, right? I mean, come on. But is Jesus the God? Jesus is God, yes. Jesus is God the Son. The Father is God the Father, and the Holy Spirit is God the Holy Spirit. God is 3 in 1. You can learn more about that in the first book of John. Did you hear about Jack Dorsey working on a crypto wallet called BitKey that doesn't use seed phrases? I did hear about that. I want to look more into that. Very interested to see how that would work. Very, very, very interested to see how that would work. All right. Daniel J said Bezos accountant on last day. All in on Terra Luna. Yeah, that's right. There you go. Well, guys, got a lot of good questions. Got a lot of good questions coming in today. We are going to wrap it out. We are a little bit over time. I always like going over time because I try and schedule breaks for myself because I'm really bad at taking a break. If I don't take a break, I'll just work 16 hours straight and I won't sit down at all. So I schedule a break from 10:45 to 11. So I'm not missing anything. So I'm like, I'll just take my break here and enjoy chat with you guys. I probably should go though to make sure that we're on time. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure to sign up for NordVPN with a link in the description box down below. You're going to get a massive discount by using that link, by the way, on the 2-year plan. So make sure to go sign up with the 2-year plan, and you will be glad you did because you're going to get a big old discount, and you will be able to invest in security architecture that I've been using for a very long time that you should be using to protect yourselves from eavesdroppers who need to mind their own business. It's a great way to kick somebody out of your business that has no business being in your business. So make sure to sign up for NordVPN with a link in the description box down below. Before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching this video, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.